Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. We've got more news today, as always, so let's get straight to it. The very first thing that I want to show you guys is something pretty cool that's coming. I have to give a thank you to David Solano, who actually pointed these out to me. But there is a new series of dinosaur figures, and they were just recently revealed at the New York Comic Con. They are called Armorsaurs, and they do look pretty cool, actually. I would definitely like to see some of these at some point in person. I will most certainly be picking them up if I can find them in any stores near me or even online. I have no idea when they're going to launch, but they do have a pretty cool kind of old school feel to them, which I definitely can appreciate. And overall, you know, they have some decently detailed sculpts and some okay paintwork, so absolutely looking forward to finding out more about these at some point in the near future. And then when it comes to Passion Charger, there is a brand new model that they just surprised us with. There was usually they often show like the leading up to finishing of a sculpt, but this one just completely finished, out of nowhere revealed. It is a Dino Crocuta, and it is super nice looking, and also the very first model that I've actually seen for this species, so that as well is pretty cool. But talk about an epic looking prehistoric mammal. This sculpt is fantastic, and I definitely want to get my hands on this one at some point. I don't know for sure if it is available to purchase yet, but if it's not, I'm sure it will be at some point very soon. However, you can, of course, contact them on Facebook to inquire further. Then when it comes to Collecta, they recently had shared this image, kind of giving us a teaser of, you know, some upcoming releases from them, one of which certainly looks like a species of Ceratopsian, as well as a potentially a Giganotosaurus we can see in here. There's all sorts of stuff going on, so I'm not entirely sure what all species we are getting, but very much so an exciting time as always to be a dinosaur collector, as this is the time of year where we usually find out all of the new releases for the next year. Also, when it comes to Haolonggood, and I have to give a thank you to Paleo Figures on Facebook for pointing out all of these images, but there are some brand new bronze statues coming from them, and they look super cool. When I had initially heard of the idea of them releasing bronze statues, I was like, okay, that sounds fun, but I don't know if I'll really collect them. However, as we can see, they actually look so much nicer than I ever expected them to, and I absolutely want to get them in my hands and in my collection, depending on the price, of course. But, you know, they are some of the best versions of each of the different species that we see here that I've seen from Haolonggood, so I would absolutely love to get my hands on these once they are officially available. And also, Haolonggood recently had shared an image showing off quite a few of their models, and actually within this image you can see kind of like sneak peeks of other upcoming releases coming from them, which is definitely really exciting. As we can see, there are definitely some more large sauropods coming from Haolonggood, which should excite many, including myself. And then we also have this image here, which shows off their Diplodocus that is coming soon as well, which looks beyond gorgeous. Will most likely be the best Diplodocus on the market once it is officially available. But definitely, again, as always, a lot to look forward to coming soon from Haolonggood. And then Blokees has revealed some more images of their Jurassic World line, including some painted figures, which we can see here, and I think they continue to look pretty cool. Definitely a bit stylized. Of course, not exactly what I would say are screen-accurate versions of the Jurassic World dinosaurs, but they do look pretty cool, and I would definitely like to get these in my hands just to kind of take a look at a few at the very least and see how I like them, and then maybe continue on further from there collecting them. But they do look pretty cool overall, and again, quite exciting to see a new line of Jurassic World figures coming. And then when it comes to Mattel, first of all, we actually have something that's quite interesting. And I have to give a thank you to Sight C Studios on Instagram. But we have a new line of Mighty Little Biters coming, which I actually don't believe I even have the last line yet, because they haven't really been showing up in my area at all for a long time. But as we can see, we have a Dimorphodon as well as a Ceratosaurus. And I definitely, at the very least, want that Ceratosaurus, but I would love to be able to get both of them in my hands at some point. However, those figures in my area are definitely getting harder and harder to find. And then a thank you has to go out to Keys to Benz for this image, but there is actually a new Allosaurus coming as well from Mattel, and we can see again it's part of the new survival line, so it does have kind of a goofy thing going on there with the tail, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's probably one of the nicest looking as far as sculpts go Allosaurus figures that I've seen from Mattel in quite a while, especially when it comes to that beautiful head sculpt. So I'm very excited to see this one in person at some point in the near future. On top of that, and a thank you has to go out to Dino Mike Mac, but we actually have some some brand new figures for the 6-inch or 5-inch basics. I forget what you call them. But we can see we have some brand new ones, which it's been a long time since we actually had any new figures in that line. There's a T-Rex, a Mosasaurus, one of the Rebirth Raptors, and the Spino now entering the line. These figures as well are pretty much non-existent in my area, so hopefully I can find them at some point in the near future and add these to my collection because they do look pretty fun. And the final thing I have, and a thank you has to go out to Collect Jurassic for these, but we have Mutadons coming finally. However, they are part of the Ultimate Damage line. Now, I am hoping we get other versions of the Mutadons at some point because I would really like to see better, more nicely painted and nicely articulated versions, but these look kind of okay. Obviously, it's a 2-pack, which is the first time that we've had something like that when it comes to like an individual species and getting 2 of them in the Ultimate Damage line, but they look interesting, that's for sure. I don't know if I'd say they're perfect as to what we see on screen, and the paint apps are definitely quite lacking, but either way, I am excited to see the Mutadons finally entering the Mattel line, and again, they do look fairly fun. I'll have to, of course, wait until I see them in person to truly judge, but I'm absolutely excited to finally see this very strange mutated dinosaur getting some love from Mattel. So as of right now, guys, that's all the news I've got. When more comes out, I'll be sure to send it your way, but until then, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.